Hi guys, and welcome to our next video, which is going to be practical, and this is all going to be about continue of our series of hacking basically networks, hacking wireless networks. And in the previous video you saw how can we actually crack a wireless network using AirCrackNG, how we gathered the handshake, and how we actually implemented the attack in order to crack the password. Now we are focused on like a different attack which has nothing to do with cracking, but more like lying the user and implementing social engineering and tricking the user into give the password we want. So basically we have of course a handshake part. Of course we want to try the combinations that the user broadcasts to us, but they're slightly reduced. So basically now let's go and explain what means the fake AP attacks or evil twin attacks. And now we're gonna explain everything in that video. Therefore we're gonna start to actually implement the attack and see how in action we can just use the attack in order to get your credentials. So now what's a fake AP attack? Now before we actually talk about fake AP, I want to actually explain what's the AP, of course the basic AP. Well, basically the AP is like the access point when your machine is basically connecting in order to get access to the internet. In other words, the gateway. So basically the AP is where the machines are connecting, and now in this stack we are focused on generating fake AP. And when we actually able to generate that fake AP, we can actually prompt the user of the connector to our AP be prompted with some kind of like login screen or anything whatsoever in order to actually giving place to actually fill the credential and actually give us the access to the real network. So basically we are setting the AP with the exact same MAC address, we are setting AP with the exact same name, but we are setting AP with not that much like 100% match, because we don't know the password for the real one. And we are setting everything same, but since we don't know the password, is the most obvious choice to go for the open network. And of course, if the user has some experience in security or IT, it will be more hard to basically trick the user. But imagine that you have all of users in that AP and someone gets like annoyed or like angry because we are deauthenticating everyone in that network in the real one. So basically the procedure is quite the same. We just set up a fake AP, we deauthenticate everyone in the real access point, and when a stupid enough users see our AP, he's gonna connect to us. We're gonna prompt him with a password for the router. We can say, for example, that the router needs to update, or the router needs some firmware update, and anything that you can imagine. Therefore we're gonna prompt it with the fields of WPA password, and therefore we need the handshake of that actually network. And when we bring the password, we're gonna use the password with the handshake and try to establish a connection. And if the connection is not basically established, we're not gonna actually end this procedure and we're gonna start over again. So keep in mind that when we are authenticating everyone in that network, there's a high chance of someone not actually that much into IT get annoying or angry to that there is no internet connection and so on. So basically there's a high chance of using the people's stupidity or emotions to basically trigger and grant us the password. So here we say that we attack person because we are not cracking anything, we are not directly brute forcing any password whatsoever, but we are going and hacking people's minds. Like we are authenticating everyone, they start get pissing off or angry, and therefore we bring the same network but free. They connect, we bring with the password field, they enter, and we leave the connection, everything's alright. But to the user, which is not an IT guy, it can seems like the router, the AP is upgrading, or there are some issues, or a restart and anything whatsoever. So basically in that case this is gonna be us, the attackers. But if you're not that much into IT, there wouldn't be anything so suspicious. because by default routers that do not have HTTPS connection, so on, and they don't need it basically. And so we can basically why first that we are the AP. The first step is to actually generate AP. Therefore, we need to modify the AP with the proper name and the proper MAC address, so it's WIC relevant. Therefore, we need to implement social engineering attacks to trick the victim, because this, what I gave you, is just one quick example of attack. There are many multiple scenarios where you can think of attacking your victims. Therefore, we need to basically just wait and gather the needed credentials from our victims. So the idea is quite the same. Now let's move on. And of course, I want to say one more thing, that fake APs can be used, the attacks can be used as a last resort when we were not able to brute force the network. Because this can draw a lot of attention to us, and basically this attack that is towards the users. And we as a penetration testers are wanting the users in the last resort when we are unable of doing something to the system level. So basically these kind of attacks are usually went for the last resort, since they require user interaction and we can draw a lot of attention to us, and this is not what we want to happen. But if in the other side we brute force the network, no one is ever going to actually notify anything. Even there's an IT guy, he's gonna see that he's dropping out connection like for 5 seconds, which is quite normal. There are drops sometimes, and therefore the connection is gonna come back and everything is gonna be fine. Everyone's got an internet connection while we are brute forcing, and if we brute force successfully, you get the network, we are inside, but no one actually noticed anything. But if you go for the fake AP, there's a person who needs to join to our AP in order to give us a chance to present him a page, and therefore after the page the records can be actually extracted to a database and so on. So basically he needs to type anything there, and there is user interaction. Okay, so now what tools we need to use for that attack? Well, basically the first thing we need is a lot of services, and the hardware tools. As a hardware tools, we need a USB wireless adapter, and that adapter must actually support packet injection and must support monitor mode. So basically without these two things the wireless adapter would be useless, because it will not get the work done for us. So we need basically that adapter to be powerful and to be capable of actually injecting packets and being able to support monitor mode. So we need tools like DHCP. So basically the DHCP is a service which actually arranges different IP ranges to different hosts. So whenever you, for example, connect to a wireless network or any network, basically, if there's a DHCP service, you basically do not need to configure your network configuration manually and go, for example, in Windows to Network and Sharing Center, therefore go to like IPv4, set up the IPs that administrator give you, and so on. While having the DHCP, like that service is automatically transmitting IPs, and it gives them a release time, basically how much they exist. And when that release time is gone, the IP disappears, and when someone connects back after that release time, he's gonna get arranged the IPs that were released and so on. So the DHCP service is great. It saves a lot of like hard work and pain, and we can use DHCP to arrange automatically IP to our victims. So when a victim connects to our fake IP, he's gonna get arranged with IP from our DHCP service. Therefore, we need to have IP tables, and basically this is a firewall, which complex firewall, which actually can allow us to forward packets. Basically, using IP tables, we can say that we can accept packet on or from the one side, because we need two internet adapters for that attack. So basically you can accept traffic on the one adapter and pass out traffic throughout the other adapter. So this is useful for implementing a lot of attacks. Therefore we need aircrack ng package, like the airdump, the airplay for the authentication and so on. You saw how that tools work in the previous video, and they are quite useful, so we need them. We need AirPay to do the authenticate, we need them to scan the network and so on. Therefore we have the web server. Of course we need some kind of web server, because whenever someone connects to our AP, he's gonna get prompted with some fake pages, and that fake page of course must be casted or hosted somewhere, and that somewhere is our web server. So in this video we're going to use Apache, and as we said before, we need a USB wireless adapter, and of course we need the adapter already connected to the internet or not. We need two adapters basically. So we need also a database when we are going to store the credentials. You can do that pointing to a file. So here now we have a quick diagram and scenario about the fake AP attack. So basically here we have our real AP attack, which is our target in that case. So here we have the target. Here is our victim. Basically we need to basically structurize and prioritize the target and the scenario in our head. Like when we are approaching an engagement or an attack or anything whatsoever, you need to make your mind clear and stay focused on the goal. Like here the goal is to get the password for the router. So the first way is to brute force, the second way is to use fake AP attack, and so on and so on and so on. So you make a prioritize in your head, and you do not get like distracted from your goal. Because I've encountered that many times, you can by achieving your goal, by going forward your goal, you can see some other information, you can go into different directions, and this can lead to basically losing a lot of time and so on. So basically we need to keep our goal structurized and in our heads, and we don't need to basically move away from that goal besides the huge amount of information that is coming to us. Because for example, when you start implementing such an attacks, you can start to read when you get some troubles, because you will have some troubles with any attack. That's just how it is. You're gonna start to read, you're gonna get like disarranged, scattered to other goals, to other scenarios. You need to read carefully and not get scattered from your goal. Distracted, that's the word. So we don't want to get distracted. So here our goal is to basically connect to the AP. We don't have the password. This is our machine. This is a client which is connected to the router, and he's actually, you can see with the white arrows, he's actually using the communication and so on. So here what we can do is basically, here using the web server, the DHCP, the IP tables, so we can set up our fake AP here. We can use our wireless adapter and make it like in mode to be like an AP. So when you use your Wi-Fi from the outside, like here, you're gonna see our network and that network. And now the next thing we can do is basically de-authenticate everyone here. So basically everyone's gonna lose connection, and this should happen whenever we are fully ready with configuring our fake AP, because we must make sure that whenever someone gets actually disconnected from here, he's gonna connect to us immediately. So here we need to set up the fake AP. We need to set up like to modify it with the correct values, like for the name, ESSID, BSSID, and so on, just to make it like 100% same besides the password, since we do not know it. Therefore we need to actually capture the handshake while actually de-authenticating everyone, because we're going to need the handshake in order to probe the password. This is the optional, but it's always good to have the handshake. And therefore we actually, after the authenticate and capture the handshake, we continuously sending the packets to the authenticate, so we make sure that no one connects back here, and if it connects, it's gonna drop out again. So we're gonna leave the users no chance by connecting to us. That's the like the option they have. They're gonna see the exact same network with the exact same name without a password, and most of the users can think of like the password is saved, I'm gonna connect here, or so on. So basically here we gonna implement that attack. We're gonna authenticate everyone right here, and since everyone connects to us, since we don't have a network connection, we're gonna prompt the user to basically with a fake page which is actually generated by us, and which is gonna ask the user for VPA credentials to give him internet access, and we have some updates, and whatever the scenario you want, it can be just anything. So basically we're gonna prompt the user with that. The user is gonna fill the credentials, therefore we're gonna stop the attack. He's gonna connect to its real IP address, and therefore we connect to our target as well. So that's the goal. Whenever we get the password, it's GG, just cut it over. You don't need to do that stuff anymore, because every second you are getting more and more suspicious. So whenever you achieve your goal, just cut the connection, cut the attack, remove the virus device, and we're ready to go and connect to your target. And so basically that was the point I want to make. And how we can make sure the password is correct, because for example some pissed off user can type different strings, different random passwords which are not correct. That's why we need a handshake. We need to probe the passwords if it's right, if it's not, and so on. And if we actually see that the password is right, cut the connection, cut the attack, and move on. Okay guys, we're back again now in our copy machine, and now we're going to demonstrate everything so far we actually discussed about. Now here in this video we're going to use a tool called AirGeddon. Since it's a combination of many tools like AirCrack, DHCP, it has its own DHCP server, it has its own web server. It's using pretty much predefined web pages about different manufacturers, about the APIs and so on. And this has even language packs about displaying the page in different language, which is a great tool, and it's a combination of many tools, even the AirCrack package and so on. I'm gonna explain to you everything what's happening so you can get a better idea about what's actually going on and what's happening on the bottom fundamental level. So without further ado, just open a terminal, and now it's time to install every single dependency and tool we need. So basically it's a good practice to install tools called CCZE, so apt-get install CCZE, which are mainly used for AirGeddon. It makes the work better, it makes the performance better, and so on. So you can see I have already pre-installed CCZE by running that command if you are root, and keep in mind that you want to use sudo if you're not root. So I don't use sudo because I'm logged in as a root user, and pretty much I can do whatever I want. But if you're not root and you type that command, you are most likely to get error about permissions. So use sudo, you're gonna save a lot of time. So sudo apt-get install CCZE. Okay, now clear that window, and now it's time to basically clone and install Drupal AirGeddon. Sorry, I'm thinking about Drupal. So open a Firefox, and now it's time to navigate AirGeddon. So AirGeddon, git download, or you can just put download, and yeah, this is the official website, this is the creator. So click clone, copy that link, now git clone, enter that command and paste that. If you run into some kind of error, of course you need to run sudo again, and if you don't have git installed, you can simply go and type the command apt-get install git, or sudo apt-get install git. So since you've downloaded the tool, now it's basically time to see what's up inside and basically install the tool. So basically here we list all the directories, and we see we have AirGeddon, so cd AirGeddon, and now we have a file airgeddon.sh. So here it's always a good practice to see the documentation about the installation of that tool, which is kind of complex. So if you have any troubles, or if you have any worries and questions, you can go to see the documentation. It's always a good practice. So here I can type sudo bash and specify the script, which is armageddon.sh. Now we are just executing that script, and the script itself is gonna basically make sure that we have everything pre-installed and up and running, so we don't have to actually worry for anything whatsoever. So here we have non-compatible distros for that script, and we have Kali, so we don't have to worry about nothing. As we can see, we have Parrot, we have SUSE, Ubuntu, Arch, Backbox, and so on. We have Backarch. And now we have Kali Linux detected. Now it's time to see if everything is installed. The tool is gonna actually do it manually. We see now we have installed the tools, the net tools we need. We have Airmon, AirDump, AirCrack, the tools we need, of course. Extern, this is just another terminal emulator, so if I open the menu and type extern, this is just, as you can see, another terminal. I can do like everything from here again. And why do the applications need other terminals? Because basically the extern is pre-coded in basically any Linux distro. So most of the Linux distro, I can say like 90% of them, has the extern inside. You see that it's not actually some pretty looking or some nice terminal to actually take our eye on, but it's actually doing the work. And basically from that box we can do basically all the functionality that we can from the other terminals. So they pre-coding and hard coding external here in the tools because they are most likely to be encountered in any Linux there. Because when the desktop environment is GNOME, there is a GNOME terminal. When it's Plasma, it's console, and so on, but every single one of them has extern, so we don't need to install new terminals and so on. So basically close that. Now it's time to basically analyze the other things. We have SSL strip. That tool is basically used for man in the middle attacks, when we basically are stripping and faking the connection of HTTPS. So with SSL strip we are somehow bypassing the HTTPS connection, we are downgrading the HTTPS to HTTP. So that's what SSL strip is all about, is basically stripping the connection, and so forth we can extract the information from the HTTPS traffic. We have ASCII, Bearcap, Etherrow, Hashcat, John, these are used for cracking passwords, AirPNG, Ethercap, and so on, all different tools. We have even Beef for cross-site scripting and social engineering attacks. We see we have the DHCP server right here. We have the DNS spoof. This is basically a pretty nice tool, and DNS spoof is basically when you can spoof the DNS records of the network. And for example, you say when someone in that network, of course when you're man in the middle, and say when someone in that network want to access Google, he's not going to access Google, he's going to access my website. So basically we're editing the DNS records, and if the one is wanting to access the Google, he wants to specify the IP manually. So we have him on curl, so press enter. Now the script is basically doing all these things. Now we need to basically set up like interface to work with. We have a quick hint, like every time you see a text with the prefix POT, acronym for pending of translation, means the translation has been automatically generated and still pending to review. Okay, so this is great. Now basically it's time to set up an adapter to work with. Now I have Ethernet which is connected to my VMware, and we have W10, so I'm gonna specify 2. Now we have the interface selected, mode managed, support the bands, and this is like the main menu of our application. So now let's just take a quick look and analyze what can we actually use that application for. So here we have the exit button, the exit option. We have the select another network interface. We have put interface in monitor mode, in managed mode, so we can play around with the modes here. Therefore we have those stack menu, which are not pretty much interested in. Well, those can be useful in the case that we want, but now we're just gonna skip that. Therefore we have handshake tools menu, we have offline decrypt menu, so since we have some kind of password, we can use tools to decrypt it offline. Therefore we have even twin attack menu. Therefore we have WPS attack, web attack, and enterprise attack. You have about encryption. Okay, so now great. Now basically we need to actually put our device into monitor mode in order to perform any further step. So click 2, and this setting my device is monitor mode. So now the interface changed its name while setting monitor mode, auto selected, and now we have the device W10mon, the very the same that we saw in the previous video while setting up with air mode. So here click enter. Now we are back with again the menu. Okay, now here we need to specify the attacks we want, and now we're focused on Evo Twin, so basically go for 7. Now we have some information right here about the interface, the mode, and we have the selected BSID, selected channel, and selected ESID. So now we need to select all of that options in order to perform the attack. So now here it's time to go for the 9 option about Evo Twin AP attack with captive portal. So this is the option we need, and it says that locked option it needs YTPD. So basically we can go there and try to install that dependency. So copy that, open your terminal, apt-get install, and paste that here. So click yes. Now when you install something during runtime, it's possible when you rerun the tool, this is not going to basically to work then. So what I mean by that is when we are installing something in runtime, we need to actually rerun the tool so that tool can get read and therefore it can work. So we can Control C here, yes. Do you want to preserve monitor mode? No. Okay, so now we can rerun that again. So bash airgeddon. Okay, nice. We have the pretty much decent logo here. And now take a little bit of time to load. Now go for root permission detected. Yeah, this is going to actually work for go for sudo and scan for sudo for root user. Now in my case I'm root, so continue. Every time it basically starts, it's checking everything it needs. So now we have YTPD okay, and now click enter. Now 2, of course. Mode manage, it set up the mode to manage while exiting. So now click 2 for setting to monitor mode. Nice, and now go for 7, I guess. Yeah, 7. Okay, now the option was 9. Yeah, now we don't have the red outline here, so basically we can run that attack. So every time you need to install like in runtime anything, it's always better to rerun the tool and restart the attack, because the records may not be written and so on, so you need to restart the tools. When you don't need to restart, it's okay, great, but in most cases you will need, so basically do that earlier so you don't lose a lot of time. So click 9, and exploring the lookup for target is going to be done. Now, okay, we are just now starting to look for targets, now exporting for targets chosen, and now we have selected interface, of course, and now click enter. It just said that we selected that interface, and now we've pointed out with all the networks available right there. So basically here we have our test network, which is test right here. So we can go and Control C. No. And now we see all the available networks out there. So basically the yellow one was the ones that have currently active users and traffic inside. So we can go and select select target by entering the number 60. Now we've selected the channel, selected the ESID, we select the handshake file. Now basically we need to gather the handshake file in order to actually perform the successful attack. So now we can use some of the previously, the previous examples, like dropping out AirPlay attack in order to deauthenticate every user inside, so we can actually get the handshake. So I'll go for 2. If you want to integrate DOS pursuit mode and able to attack another additional Wi-Fi interface is monitor mode, you need to be able to perform it. Do you want to enable DOS? Click for no. We don't want DOS anything. Are you going to use the interface with internet access method? So no here. And enter. So the authentication method AirPlay, nice. And now do you want to spoof the MAC address? So basically here, if you are doing some video engagement in real life scenario, you definitely want to basically spoof your MAC address. But now, since you are doing everything in testing environment, just click no. And now now here is the key part, that if you do not have captured handshake here, and if you click yes, you need to actually restart the whole process over again, because there is no turning back, because the program is gonna know that you have a handshake file. So in order to save your time, a lot, here you need just to press no, and if you don't have handshake, of course, so click for no, type the value in seconds, so basically click for 20, which is the default option, timeout set to 20, and now don't close any windows manually, script will do when needed. It's about 20-second maximum. So now here basically we need to read carefully everything the script is telling us and just follow like the steps and instructions it gives us. So basically click enter and even it says be patient, so we just need to be patient, I guess. So yeah, here it's opening 2 X terminals, and by encountering many tools we can see that there are many X terms out there. So here we have the handshake found, we have it written under root, handshake, and the MAC address.cap, so which is great. Type the path to store the file or press enter. Yeah, this is the default path, and now we're okay with that, so press enter. The path is valid. Okay, nice. We have the handshake up and running. So if I open the terminal and list everything I have in the root directory, sorry, so I have the handshake right there. So I have the cap file, which is great. Now we have the handshake, and we performed the exact same procedure in the previous video. We just deauthenticated everyone there, and we actually get the handshake upon their trying to access the AP. So now click enter. It has been checked, there is a handshake, nice. Now we have BSID set to that MAC address, the channel, and therefore we have the ESID of test. As you can see, the channel is the same, the MAC is the same. So basically, if the path to Wi-Fi network achieved with this captive portal, you must decide where to save it. So basically, yeah, this is the default path again. So root, evil twin captive portal password. This is the password file of our victim. So basically, click that. As we said in the previous theoretical part, we can use database, we can use files. The point is just to collect the information somewhere, because we cannot rely on our memory sometime wise. So basically, we need either database or file. So here, the path is valid and you have right permission, so script can continue. Nice. Now we can now select pretty much the language that we want to represent our fake page to our victims. So of course you need to here gather information about your victims, what people are they, and so on. So in most cases we go for English. And now click, let's see what that says. Our parameters and requirements are set. Now it's time to go. So click enter. The interface change is name while set in manage mode. Nice. Now it's gonna actually prompt with a lot of terminals out there. It's gonna start a very amount of tools, independent tools. So basically this tool is the authenticating. This is the DHCP service, which is pre-installed with the tool. This is the fake AP, which is basically hosting right now, so AP enabled. And as you see, we've set up a lot of servers. We have the DNS, the web server, so we have everything up and running for our attack to be performed. And now, for example, let's open my Windows machine and type like use Microsoft Edge. Now I'm not connected, I don't have internet connection, I've been dropped out. When I go here, I see test and I see test open. Now if I'm a user which is basically not that into IT and security, I'm gonna see, yeah, they're the exact same, so I'm gonna open just that. I'm not just wondering what that is. It's the same network, I see test. So it's connecting right now. As you can see, we cannot establish a connection right here. Okay, so we are now connected to that page basically. And let's try to establish a connection to see what actually can happen. Now if we go to Kali machine, let's see what actually happened. We have our host connected with the desktop name. We have the log file of the DNS, and therefore we have continuous with the authenticating the real network. We have the DHCPV's request. We have all the DHCP requests actually over here, and now we just need to wait a little bit more. And now, great, now you can see that we have a fake page about prompting us with some kind of a password. So now when everything we type here is gonna be actually prompted to the real AP from our target machine. So basically that's why we need the handshake. So every password here is going to actually be thrown to the real AP with the handshake, and we're gonna see if we have a successful response. And if the response is successful, the attack is gonna cut off. So here I'm gonna type some fake password, YSDSDSD. Now I have the password is incorrect, redirecting to main screen. We have Google outcome index.htm. As you can see now here, we do not have that page in Google outcome. We are not accessed Google, but our DNS records actually spoof that. So that's the point of spoofing the DNS. Basically, we can edit the names of the servers. So here we are far from accessing Google. We've accessed some local servers on our attacker machine, but now we see we have index.htm, and that HTML has functionality of saving the credentials in a file, prompting the credentials into the real AP and see if they are actually the true one. So that's the point of combining multiple tools. We need all of them to work simultaneously in order to do the work. So now let's type the real password, which I set QWE123, QWE123. Now click submit. The password is correct, the connection will be reestablished in a few seconds, few moments, and so on. So here, let's see what happens. Let's go first to our archive machine, and we have password captured successfully. So that's where we have the password. You can see here we have the password was saved on file and it located to that file, but it's always a good practice to basically copy that password and save it somewhere else, let's say here. No, not that. Yeah, so basically we need to save our password in order in emergency case where the program do not save properly the password. So basically this our attack always save majority of password, because there was time when the application just gets buggy and do not properly save the files. For example, when multiple users type a lot of things there and so on, you can easily get lost, and the application somehow may get bug and it's not going to save the right password and so on. So basically always go for manual saving the password. So now close that. As you can see, our attack is basically terminating. It's restoring the interface, restoring the connection, and it's bringing back everything to its default option. So now here, let's go back to our Windows machine, see what happens. We are still connected to that test2. Now we go for return. Now we need basically to exit the script. And of course, no. Now we've terminated all the process, exit, and it's always a good idea to restart your Kali machine, since we need basically to make sure all the processes are quietly stopped. because all the processes right here are started just from the script, and if somehow they are not properly shut down, we could not be able to reestablish the connection as we used to. So basically, if I go to restart, and this connection is gonna actually disappear. So basically, I need to go for reboot. Now let's keep track of that connection. So here, let's see what happens. If I try to refresh that, yeah, we have just one test right there. So the connection basically disappeared, and this is why, because as we said before, QW123. So basically, as we said before, the tools that are starting with that program are not properly shut down sometimes when the program exited, and we must make sure that we reestablish the connection, we cut down the attack as fast as possible, because we don't want any unnecessary annotation. So basically, with rebooting, it's always a good practice immediately after you saved your password. So save it in a file, make sure you saved your password correctly, and after that reboot immediately, and this is gonna basically guarantee that we actually reboot and shut down all the services that we don't want to. Because sometimes maybe some of the services can be shut down, let's say the DNS spoof and so on, but the AirDump, the AirPay and so on cannot be shut down. And for example, AirPay can still go into the authenticate the real network, so you will not have to basically network connection. So basically, this is, guys, how the attack work. I really hope you enjoyed, and actually I hope it was useful for you. So basically, how it works is very simple. It takes a lot of services, combine it together, that script, and applying them all of them simultaneously. It's setting up your card to monitor mode. You start authenticating everyone. Therefore, you create fake AP with fake page. People connect to you, put their credential, get the credential. Before that, you got the handshake. You throw the credentials with the handshake towards the real AP. You compare, see if that's correct. If it's correct, you cut down the connection, cut down the attack, and everything is okay. So this is the attack for last resort. This is the attack when you cannot brute force the VPA manually with AirCrack, because let's say some intelligent IT people are sitting behind the configuration of that AP, so they've set up the router like very good and pretty much unbreakable with some pretty strong and good password, so it's really hard to break that up. Like you throw different word lists and nothing happens. Therefore, you can see the traffic there, and you can go for the hacking people, because in the many cases the people are the easiest way to get to the machine and hack into that machine. So of course they can be used for last resort, since the result is not guaranteed and we are not that much stealthy as we are in the cracking phase, but still that's an option, that's an opportunity that we should go for and we should never miss. So I really appreciate you guys for watching. This is the core of the attack. In the future videos we're gonna see other tools and other types of attack, including different types of algorithms, encrypting algorithms for connections. So you're gonna see all the available options about hacking wireless networks. I appreciate everyone for watching, and see you in the next video.